Everyone, and welcome to the Rise with Reis show. And today I have Reis back with me, and we're going to be discussing, are you in a twin flame or a soulmate relationship? And that is a big topic because I have been in the last 8 years, probably the second question to, is this my twin flame? Or are we going to reunite? And when are we going to reunite? But what is this? Is this a twin flame or is it a soulmate? Or how do I know if this is my twin flame? So we're going to break this down for you today and give you some information that can really help you distinguish if you're in a twin flame or soulmate type relationship. I feel really guided to share with you some information that it would typically help you know and understand, and whether you're in a soulmate or a twin flame relationship. And just really quick, I'm just kind of getting an error message that for some reason we've lost Facebook tonight when we went live. So give me 1 second. I think I can add it real quick. I think it's maybe coming on. Give me a second. I think it might some every once in a while things bump out and it looks like we've lost it. And so we'll just have to go with flow, right? That teaches us to go with flow. But basically, so here's some really interesting things that I think that can help you really determine the difference in a soulmate or a twin flame relationship. So a twin flame obviously is your teacher. And they're going to be a lot of opposing energy. They're going to contrast you. They're going to mirror the sides of you that are weak, that you need to go within yourself, and the mirrored reflection of what it is you need to work on. They're going to magnetically connect to you in an inner energy interaction that lights you up literally, and that activates you to awaken your higher self. That is not to say a soulmate can't come into your life that energetically connects to you, that energetically activates you, and that on some level you connect to energetically. Because the thing in today's world, it's really hard to determine and distinguish the difference in that, because we're all energy, and we're all waking up, and we're all in a quantum entanglement, and we're all creating connections that are elevating us and all coming together to clear a lot of karma and heal past lives. But when it comes to the soulmate, one of the deepest parts of the distinguishing differences, a soulmate is so familiar in a way that it's so harmonious from the get-go. It is so in your heart, a feeling of oh, this is perfect, and oh, I love this person, and oh, we're going to have this perfect life, and we're going to have the house and the picket fence and the children, and we just show up and we just flow in such harmony. And there's not the contrast necessarily that shows up for you to see yourself. That's the biggest difference, Reis. And I'm going to let you, that's from what I see. I'm going to let you elaborate on that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Harmony. Hello, everybody. So, yeah, there's such a mystery around twin flames and soulmates. And I feel that a lot of people are there asking, well, where am I at? What am I in? What am I actually being shown here? And well, there's lessons in every single experience that we've got. And I would really say to you that if you're one of those people that are really questioning where you're at, it's really about going within and really recognizing where you're at and really being happy with you. Now, a lot of us, we're searching for this, or we're trying to look for this. We're trying to look for that perfect one. There's this concept of the twin flame where it's the perfect one. And then we've got soulmates where they can come in many different forms. They can come through your family members. They can come through your pets. They can come through all of these different experiences. And they're all here designed to help you grow. But it's all about recognizing actually where we're at and what experience we're going through and how we're focusing on it right now. So a lot of us, I feel it's all about getting there. It's all about projecting ourselves to get there without actually really recognizing the journey that we're going through at the moment. A lot of us are, if we visit soulmate relationships in order to help align us and get us to the place where we're then going to align with our twin flame. So when I met my twin flame, I'd reached a form of completion with myself, and so had my twin flame. I'd come through quite a few twin flame relationships that were very obviously karmic. Now, we say that twin flame and soulmates, they can come in, and we can sometimes not distinguish the two of them because they can feel the same. We get that sense of familiarity. We get that sense of, oh, we know this person, we can connect with this person. But it's about recognizing how actually what your twin flame shows you along to your soulmate. Now, speaking from my own personal experience, my soulmates have only ever shown me a very fast, a very painful period of growth, which has come up in a very dynamic way, which has been karmic a lot of the time. So there's this familiarity that I've visited this place before, that I've experienced this place before, but I haven't actually come into completion with it. Now, when I got into alignment to meet my twin flame, I had completed a wholeness within me. There wasn't a part of me that needed to be shown. Now, I only recognized this actually later down the line of actually being with my twin flame and recognizing and then reflecting back on the experiences, and also understanding everybody else's journey and their lessons, their growth around their relationships. A lot of soulmates, they can be very, very painful to let go. I know a lot of them have actually come up in shows that we've been doing recently, where people they are ready to let go of their soulmate. They are ready to form that completion, but they're really struggling because there's such a karmic, strong bond that has been there from previous lifetimes, and that needs to come into completion in order for you to get to that place of wholeness. So
yeah, and that's the point. I want to bring something up about it really quick. It's so important. What people don't understand in the soul contracts say that those karmic lessons and soul agreements have to come to completion before you're free to move forward. And so if you don't complete that cycle with that person because it was agreed upon on that soul level, then you are repeating the cycle with them, which is why the loops with them keeps continuing until you clear your side of the karma.
Absolutely. I'm sorry if my signal's going a little bit there. Can you?
Yeah, you're fine on my end. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and it's that looping pattern that we can revisit and revisit and revisit in order to experience that growth and to experience that journey. Now, I really want to kind of demystify this whole soulmate and twin flame, because a lot of us can become so fixated. If this is you, we're fixated on finding the one, being with the one, and not actually really coming into a place of acceptance of where you are. And if this is you at the moment and you're saying, well, I'm really wrestling with this idea, I really want to find my twin flame, it's actually recognizing that you are your own twin flame. I had a beautiful conversation with a lady in a crystal shop a couple of days ago, and she actually came to that awareness herself. She said, I am my own twin flame. And I said, you absolutely got it. It's about recognizing how you can connect with yourself and you can bring yourself to that whole place. Yes, accepting your flaws, accepting who you are, accepting the love that you are, accepting the worth, and really coming into alignment with yourself. Now, we are shown different variations. Everything we talk about, the mirror process, everything is your mirror, and everything is here to show you an aspect of growth. Now, with your twin flame, they show you that whole self. My twin flame, he is the absolute mirror image of me. And we really, when we came into alignment, we really recognized that we were in mission, that we had a mission to fulfill. So when we look at soulmate relationships, we can really look at almost like a lower state of consciousness that we need to kind of clear, that we need to remove these lessons.
More the karmic things, right?
Yeah, all of these lower parts of us that I'm not disbanding and saying that, oh, they're not important or they're, down here. It's so, so important in order for us to. Yeah,
that's the shadow work.
It's the shadow work, exactly. It's important to go to these depths and really experience the growth that you're getting through all of these situations that you're going through. Now, when I connected with my flame, we knew that we had a mission that was bigger than us. Our heart energies aligned and we opened up in order to step into our mission, which completely mirrored. So when I actually reflect back onto my soulmate connections, they were showing me low aspects of myself. There were codependencies, there were anger issues, addictions. There were all of these things that needed to be cleared out, that needed to, almost like the sludge had to be removed in order for me to align myself. Now, don't get me wrong, my twin flame shows me so many aspects of myself to clear. Now I'm talking lower aspects of myself also. So I'm not actually saying this isn't going to be within your twin flame relationship, because it is, but actually there's an alignment within us that actually is helping us step into our mission, that we are now stepping on our path, our journey together, which is bigger than us.
Well, right. And part of that is because what people also don't understand is there's the individual purpose and then the joint mission.
Yeah.
And both of those are very important because they can parallel each other, but they can also be different. Because I had a conversation with a friend that I've met here in Sedona this morning. We had lunch and I was talking to him, and he had read my book recently, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to speak to you and connect with you and share my story with you." And so I said, "Absolutely." So I went and met this beautiful soul, and he was sharing how the connection he'd been going through with a person that is, he believes to be his twin flame, even though she's, the typical married with children, and, there's no alignment there other than I'm just in your life and we are connected in this way. But there's such an activation there that's activating him even to a higher realm. But we were having this conversation about how, the mirroring aspects, and what people don't really realize is that the whole world is a reflection of you.
Mm.
Everything about it you've created that happens in your life reflects who you are, because it's only happening in your reality, because your reality is created from the inside out. And so if you don't like what's around you, you have to look within and be like, okay, where did I create this? What do I need to look at within myself that is a part of this interaction? And like, say in these cases where, like, for instance, the person's in a karmic relationship that we know of, and they haven't released that for themselves, we say that. But on the flip side, part of that mission can actually be just the idea that you're activating each other, that you're elevating each other, that you're helping each other in your personal process. And that's another thing I was talking to him about, like his mission. And like, he really recognizes it's not like he has this grand mission as far as his own purpose. His purpose for where he stands is just to show up in everyday life and be such a light and so bright and such an example for people, and just to be in service, and that being like one of the highest missions. So when it comes to the twin flame mission, there could be a combination of the twin flame mission that is a joint venture to help heal. But if you, and this is what I was telling him, this is where I was going with this. I said, twin flames are technically sovereign souls that are independent, that give each other the freedom to be themselves and do what they need to do for themselves individually, that can interdependently intertwine what your commonalities are, even within your own purposes, that if you don't have a equal contribution to, like what you said, I got really teary-eyed when you said this, the heart mission. Because it's from the heart of what you both want to contribute to the world that makes it more powerful together with whatever you touch. Whatever, we're just showing up,
Yeah, and I would just adding on to that, I would absolutely agree, because since me and my twin flame aligned, we have both had to do so much work individually that has shown each other the aspects of growth, of how we then can propel ourselves forward from each other. Now that
and bring out the best in each other for what you need, and yeah.
And that expansion just would not have happened without his alignment, without us coming together and giving me that space to grow, giving me that energy to grow and to be nurtured in. Now, don't get me wrong, even though we have, we've really had to grow through some really difficult areas within our relationship. It's about actually recognizing that energetic, almost like bubble that we're in, that actually no matter where we go, no matter what we do, we're so connected through this, like interconnected harmony through our hearts, that we cannot break this. It's something that's so above us and beyond us that just transcends what is physically here now. Now we have come into alignment where we've had to step into our mission to be there, to shed the light, to help communities grow, to help experiences, to help others grow, to help you know, to bring hope, to bring love. And when we've stepped into our mission together, it's been so beautifully, harmonically aligned. It's not something that we've forced. It's not something that we've gone, right, this is what we've got to do. It's something that is above us, it's channeled through us. It's so powerfully connected through us that we just align when we're meant to align with these experiences. But the alignment, I mean, the alignment is always there, but I'm talking about when we step into our mission. Now, our mission obviously is ourselves, and we are always working on ourselves. We're always, you know, growing within that space. But actually the connection, when I reflect back to a soulmate connection, where it can feel very heavy and very dense and very repressed and a lot of struggle and a lot of trapped pain coming out, and you're working against this push all the time to kind of break free from this. This isn't the experience that you get with a twin flame. You get this kind of, as I said, expansion, this area of growth where you feel you can breathe, and you feel that actually no matter what comes up, no matter what happens, there's this feeling of safety, this feeling of connection that is just so much bigger than that experience with a soulmate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very beautiful. I don't know. I just feel something coming in. I don't even know what it is. You know what happens when that happens. So I don't know what's about to happen, but something's about to happen. So hold on. So one of the things that I'm seeing, I'm feeling, and envisioning is, well, first of all, you, Reis, like your light. Like I'm seeing you in light form because I see people in light form in their energetic bodies. And the vision I had coming up was showing me from your shadow to your light. And in a way, if you were to think of like even, let's just say like a potted plant that's a single flower, right? But the flower had died, right? And the leaves were crumbly. And as I say this, it was even a sunflower, right? Like, and I'm saying, I'm not making this up as I go, but I am, because it's coming through me like as I'm going through. I don't know why it's coming through, but I'm just going with it because there's something behind her. Somebody needs to hear. That's all I can say. But in the process of that, when I see you in that light form, I'm seeing you basically like a twin flame coming up to illuminate the shadows. Okay, so like the sun coming through to that dead flower and shining the light on your shadows so you can see them. And I see you're getting very emotional with me talking about this. And because, I can tell this is your twin has brought, light to your shadows. And I think this is happening right now. And this is not pre-rehearsed. This is that, and this is probably why you're so emotional, and probably why I'm reading this as we go, because I think this is probably something you're experiencing right now, but in the end, that dead flower is going to bloom again. But the only way it can bloom again is to get sunlight on it and re-nurture it. But that light brings light to the shadows that you got to go through to transform and transmute and transcend them into the light now. Transmute that darkness inside. So, I guess I had to recap what I'm saying here is the twin flame comes in and shines light on you, brings the darkness out of you, and then you got to transmute the darkness back to light.
But it's such a safe, warm glow. The light.
Yeah, and the glow is what I was seeing around even the dead flower going into like a new, fresh, blooming flower, right? Was the vision. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, it shows you there's this form of nakedness that you feel, this exposure, this whole, that there is nothing that you can hide or you want to hide or that you should feel ashamed of or that you're holding back. that your soul is exposed, it's vulnerable, but it's safe. And you're safe to bring up these areas. You're safe
And
to
only your twin flame can hit those shadows, because no one else can reach
Mm,
the depths of that. And know
absolutely.
that when you are at the core of your own vulnerability and able to finally let that vulnerability come out and have the space to safely express that.
Mm. Yeah, it's that completion, that form of completion. Even though, with the twin flame cycle that we go through, we work through these cleanses, we grow, and then we have these experiences. But every single level, we get stronger, we become more aligned, we're showing different aspects of our mission, we are becoming more highly attuned. Even this morning, I just looked at my phone, I went, Jonathan, looked at my phone, and he rang. Twice he did that. The connection is just on point, and it's such a beautiful experience to go through. But with a twin flame, there was always that feeling of resistance, that feeling that when you first meet your twin flame, you can sometimes get it confused with your soulmate. You can sometimes get it confused with your twin flame, because you can feel that familiarity, you can feel that connection. But as time goes on, you can really feel that there are areas that you are not comfortable in, that you are working against, that you cannot feel like you completely fit in this process, that actually this whole sense of wonder and vulnerability you cannot fully expose, because it's just creating more problems, more stuck energy, more you're fighting all the time. Now, the difference within my twin flame relationship is that there isn't fight. The only fight that comes from is your own internal struggle, not from what I've experienced within my soulmate relationships, where you're exhausted and you're fighting in order to create some kind of shift that isn't going to happen unless you shift yourself. Now, that is the same concept that happens within the twin flame relationship, but the cleansing process and the elevation of growth is so much more powerful and so much more dynamic and quicker, and aligns you back to that place of expansion and love in such a more powerful way, that transcends the soulmate connection. That's
Mhm.
how I would put it.
Mhm. Now, when you were saying all that, it brought me to an example of like all of this, kind of like it did last week, where I kind of experienced some things that like were stories. And last week I kind of shared some stories, and like say, I'll share the stories if we have time at the end. You're like, no, I want to hear the stories. So, so like, I feel like there's a story that's really powerful in what we're talking about here. That, as you were talking, I was going through and mapping out my story of what I recently went through. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is a good example to put into an illustration of what we're saying that's really even fresh for me in this whole thing. So, as you all know, if you've followed me for very long, I come here open, raw, real, and vulnerable, and just share my real time, experiences. And so I feel like I have one to share. So I'm just going to do it, because I know if I didn't, Reis would be like, I want to hear it anyway. So, right. I'm sure some of you would too. So, as you were talking about this expansion, growing, safe place, alignment, and that the individual growth needs to happen and then needs to realign. And then as each time, you go through the individual growth, there's a realignment with, your twin flame that has to realign. And if you both aren't like growing, because the thing is, you're never going to stop growing. And so you have to go through an individual growth process that always continues to stay in alignment, but with the goal of the process always realigning in a new, better, stronger way that continues to evolve, expand, and enhance the overall picture between yourselves, your dynamic, and then the mission. And so, so just to give you an example of this, so through divine, I call it divine design, that, for no reason of, um, choice, but it happens even in the divine design to put and set us up in these situations to help us experience things that helps you create what you need in the experience to get the experience you need for your inner growth. So that being said, I recently, moved to Sedona, and, my flame was with me, and then he had some personal life things to take care of. And so he had to leave to go take care of those. And in the leaving process, there were so many divinely designed things that brought up a lot of stuff. And in that stuff to be bringing it up needed to come up for really, and I'm going to call it a separation because it was separation in the physical dimension, but that didn't mean we were separated, but it was still designed as a separation to create the same experience of the separation that we think of, and in that there were just like incident after incident of just different divinely designed situations to create scenarios for both of us to see more of ourselves, in these things, to clear out and for us both to look at this idea that we want to live more aligned with our higher selves individually, for both of us. And so, in that process, there was also a few things that didn't feel in full alignment of like our connection. And so being able to go into that separation, so to speak, brings up an opportunity to like surf through the reasons why within, so that, when you kind of reconnect, you reconnect in a stronger, different, more evolved way. So in the process of that, one of the things that, had kind of happened over the last few days, like, first of all, like there were some things I really needed to see in that really put me back in a place of empowerment, because it was just going into the separation. It wasn't planned. Even just the separation was a very deep, painful experience. Like we both felt the pain of the separation, even though we didn't choose it. And even though we were still connected and in every day speaking and praying together, it just was the physical disconnect was so painful. On the flip side, again, that pain brought up things that we needed to see within ourselves, to choose some things we need to choose for ourselves, that also helped us then, like bring up those misalignments pieces, so that those misalignments could be cleared to, like you said, come back together in a stronger, more aligned way, more connected, more in a safe place to bring these things up. Because if you can't have a safe place to bring them up, you can't, first of all, you got to do that to see it, just like I always say. Then you got to feel it, and then you got to like express it to heal it and go through the healing process for it to be gone. And if you don't do that individually, you can't do that together. And it both has to be on the same page, moving in that same direction. But anyway, what I was going to say about this whole thing is that over the last few days to a week, like for me personally, one of the things was like, oh, this is a great opportunity for me to rediscover myself. Like, and I was totally fine with that, because after I went through the pain of the separation, and I'm like, okay, I'm a new person now from when I even moved, and I want to get to know me. And after all I've been through, who am I now? And not only that, what do I want now? And what do I want in a partnership? And what do I want in a relationship? And how does that look like? And how do I want that to be like going forward, with some very specific things that were important to me? So me taking a look at all of that as he did his own stuff, then for myself that I could speak, brought up in the last few days this revisit of realignment of being like, okay, like I've been by myself, I'm totally fine with that. And then there were some things that put me in a divine design to be like, oh, where's my person, like, and it made me feel like, oh, I need him here, and oh, I need this, and oh, like, oh my gosh, so like that, like I wish he was here for this or that, or even help me do this or that, and then it came down to like, I just miss him, and then through divine design, there was this thing where like our phones weren't connecting, and it was putting through where we weren't able to speak to each other because the internet connection was messed up, and I would be working, and it would like, I would get busy, and then I even started recognizing, oh, I'm out of alignment here. I'm not giving you the attention you need or deserve. And he was feeling that separation and that. But And I'm getting there, but I'm just painting out every little bit of it so you can really see the whole picture of this. But so yesterday, leading up to yesterday, or the let's see, on Friday, I woke up on Friday and I was like, I don't know what's wrong, but something's wrong. Like something's wrong. Something's out of alignment. Something doesn't feel right. And so then, and I say yesterday, this is Sunday, so that would have been Friday. And so then I went through Friday feeling really odd and really weird. And I've had some things could get in a new chiropractor after moving. And if y'all know my chiropractic stores, been trying, I did find one, but there's still issues of getting what I need done for certain parts of my neck and going through emotions with that, going through pain with that, needing to find somebody that can get that movement that still hasn't got that movement, even after I found somebody, and experiencing this deeper layer of understanding, like, okay, well, what is this teaching me even here? Bottom line is it tapped into my emotions, and my emotions being like, I need to feel like I had support, had that safety, had that security, had that like feeling of protection, feeling of assistance, feeling of all these things that, he does greatly for me, and the physical presence. So by the time Friday night came, and like we had been playing phone tag for like 2 days with this whole thing going on. And so by the time Friday night came, like then we were supposed to be connecting between my schedule and his stuff and the connection. And then he got into this project he was doing. He was getting his own downloads. And then like we weren't aligning to connect. And at this point, I'm feeling like I was so emotional, like I just need to speak to you. And I don't haven't normally felt that often, but I had this feeling like, oh my God, I need to speak to you. Like I just, I miss you. I want to talk to you, all these things. And so and it was, again, divine design to make it where we weren't able to communicate, even though we were trying. Like he was trying me, I was trying him, and it just was not aligning. And so it got so much so that I figured he just fell asleep on Friday night, and I couldn't sleep. And then I had this big day planned with going to get all these things of knickknacks and all these moving sales to get some things I was going to get for my space here on Saturday yesterday. So I get up yesterday and I go on this trail to get all these knickknacks. And there was this woman that that I connected with that had all this resistance, all this fear. And I was getting this picture from her. And just before I went, I discovered she was selling a crystal bowl set. And I'd been thinking I wanted a set. Well, she had them about a third of a price what they originally were. And they were originally like a major, big, like a really good set. Let's just put it that way. But I was like, I'm not ready for this. But something inside of me was like, you have to, like, these bowls were calling me. And I'm like, I don't want these bowls right now. This is not what I'm doing here. And the universe is saying these bowls are calling you. So
You're gonna have the bowls.
I'm trying to call him to get advice from him. And I'm leaving a message saying, like, I need you to pray for me. Like, these bowls are calling me. There's a lot going on with the energy of this woman. So I don't even know if I want her energy in these bowls, but there's something that won't stop. And I need you to pray for me. And I need to figure out what this is that's speaking to me. So she wouldn't give me her address. So she was really rude in a lot of ways until the end. And it mapped out that I saw her, and she was my fourth stop to pick stuff up. And I went, and within 3 minutes, she just vomited her whole story out to me and was telling me how, like, she had open heart surgery. She had also strokes, and she just had a stroke last week, how she had lost her place to live, how she had been in Sedona as a healer and had a shop here, and how she did a sound healing practice in the past, and how all these things just stripped her whole life away. And now she's struggling with PTSD, and all this trauma from her childhood up was all just coming through. And she's just having a complete breakdown because now she has absolutely no money, and she's selling the bowls to pay for her rent. And because she was about to, no money, and her landlord was really, doing the best for her, but she's about to lose her place and she's under stress after, high stress. All I know is we're embracing each other in 3 minutes and we're both crying. And she's just like, this whole sacred thing about these bowls. And like, all I could say was, and I'm like hanging off with purse, the stuff I was buying from her. And I'm like, can I give you a session? And so I went into her home and I spent an hour going through healing with her, went through layers and layers of release and trauma. And all I could hear from the divine is, you are not there to buy the bowls. You're there to pay her rent. And so all I could do was be like, this mission of me showing up in person to help people, like I keep telling people here, that is directing me into the community, into people and in person with people to help them heal on a certain level again. That's even more powerful than I ever was as just a chiropractor. Whenever I didn't just do chiropractic, but, and, like not even just my energy healing across the world and not even just my chiropractic background, but we merging like this whole dynamic. And I've been called, and that's why I came to Sedona to do this work. And, connecting with my flame in that and the power we bring together with our heart mission. And all I could think about in that session is, oh my God, like he needs to be here with me. Like the power of what we bring to people. Not only am I bringing this to her, but the power of what we bring to people, like all I could feel is like, I need him here. And so I'm like, then she said, then all I heard was, yeah, like I walked out with the bowls. She got her rent paid. All right. And I told her, I said, I'm not buying these bowls for me right now. I'm listening to God right now. And I'm here to help you. And I'm just getting these as a bonus right now because they were not on my radar of what I needed to do. But I'm listening to God and I'm trusting, because all the way there, when I felt her fear, I felt her resistance, and I felt her not trusting. And then all of a sudden I looked at that and thought about those bowls. I had fear. I was resisting buying them, and I wasn't trusting that like it would just flow to me and that I'd be okay to go ahead and spend the money on them. And like, so by the time I did this session, it wasn't even about like, am I buying the bowls? It's about, I'm helping this woman. And she said, like the trajectory of her life change in the middle of this was just huge. And so she says to me, she says, you after like I changed, she says, well, it gets better. She has no one to give anything. She has an entire shop of unique things from all over that she had done. She has no one. If something happens to her in this whole thing, she has no one to give them to. And she says, can I leave you as my beneficiary of everything I own? And
wow.
We lost it again. And so I said, it's not about the stuff, but if you need somebody to be there for you as that person, yes. And so she's listing me as her person to leave her belongings to.
Wow.
So then on top of that, she said she's going to sleep last night better than she's ever slept in a long time. And that she said after that session, she felt better than she'd ever felt in her life. And she's been a healer.
Wow.
And because she went through trauma since she was 3. Now it gets better. I'm on my way home. He'd already been trying to contact me to answer the questions I'd had, because here I'm out there in there with her. I'm in a vortex. I don't realize my phone's even in the car. And I'm like, I better go at least let him know where I'm at, because now at this point, he's going to be looking for me and thinking, where's she at? And so then I'm trying to call him again. And then I'm on my way home saying I'm trying to call him. And I didn't. And then all the way home, I kept having this feeling like I need him here. And like, I've got all this stuff to unload, and it brought up all these emotions about unloading all this stuff and putting all this stuff up. I pull in the driveway, open the door. He comes around the corner and he says, do you need some help with that? He showed up on 11/11 and I had no clue he was coming.
Wow.
So
wow.
that was my
11/11. Wow. And this lady with the bowls, would you say that there is a soulmate connection with her?
Yeah, because obviously that was pre-planned on some level. That our interactions with everyone is as agreement that we're going to meet whoever we meet for our experiences
For
before
growth.
we're ever here.
Yeah, for personal growth. That was
Yeah,
beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to see these bowls.
I know. And I know, right? So, I know that might have been a little off topic, so I'm glad you brought that back to the soulmate connection. But I just really wanted to share the piece of that. I want to bring that back to is the heart math, the heart connection with a twin
Mm,
flame of like I was doing my personal work, but I felt the power of what I needed with the dynamic to even take that to the next level. And I
mm,
feel like even though he wasn't there in the physical presence, the connection of all that was happening
yeah,
was still
absolutely.
creating the bigger aspect of it, even though he wasn't there. There were, you know what I'm saying? Because and then I show up home and he's like in my driveway, and like
The
had
alignment
no
was meant
clue.
to happen. I
Uh-huh.
felt the alignment was meant to happen. It all flows in, doesn't it? I'd say
Mhm.
with my twin flame, he feels like my anchor. He anchors in everything, and energetically, you feel that alignment with that support, don't you? You feel that is there, and when you're going through situations, the energy. They don't have to be there physically with you. They are
Yeah.
interconnected with you on every single level. Whereas with soulmates, I always felt a real huge disconnection with everything. There's a disconnection where you feel you haven't got that. And I think that's bringing it back to that space that we're in, where that beautiful story just brought that in, where you're in that alignment, even though you
Yeah,
were
and that's a good
disconnected.
point, is alignment is what you're saying. So that's why
Mm,
I shared it because the whole thing was alignment.
yeah, yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Right? And you
Yeah.
can't make up like, there's no way I could coordinate it, any of that, you know what I mean, and how that works. So everyone, we real quick, let's retract here and just let everybody know what we're really talking about here, and then we're gonna answer some questions and comments here. But this is the Rise with Reis show, and we do it every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So it's in New York, and so make sure to hit the heart button, hit the subscribe button so that you know whenever we come live every Sunday. And also, if you've not got plugged into our free resource for the 5 video series to help you do the perfect inner work, that you don't have to work so hard, like learning how to accept yourself for who you are, where you are, and elevating yourself to the highest version of you and attracting your highest match, which is your twin flame at the highest level of who you are. And so
Absolutely.
um, so make sure you get plugged into those resources in the above or below. And then the show's topic tonight is we're talking about really discerning the difference between a soulmate versus a twin flame connection. And yeah, let's take some questions here and see what everyone has to say or comments. The soulmate trigger you like a twin flame? They do, for sure. And like very much for sure. The only difference I think in the triggers is they're so karmic that it dives deep, where the letting go process is huge for you
Mm,
to release the trigger, what's under the trigger, because that's the part you got to see, feel to heal, that a soulmate will help you do to bring completion to your karmic contract. So if
mm,
you have this particular person that it is come full circle and you're like, okay, we're not going to align, that is not your highest match of twin flame in this lifetime, because the twin flame in this lifetime is about moving beyond this karma. And because we're in a huge wave, more twin flames in the history of time, is this wave of transition to usher in the Christ
mhm,
consciousness on heaven, on earth, so that we can all shift this. It's a planetary shift. Now, that's not to say that some people took a vow to hold the karmic space, but the bottom line is, if you can go through a process of healing yourself, you're going to align with a higher version of you. It's just the laws of the universe. It is what is magnetically connected to you. So you want to add anything to this whole trigger soulmate trigger?
Yeah, well, everything that you just said, Dr. Harmony, with the triggers with your twin flame, I would say that as with the your karmic or soulmates, they are very painful, and you really struggle to let them go. And also, they can be a looping pattern where you're constantly revisiting these same similar triggers. Whereas with twin flame, I would say the dynamic is so much more expansive, and it brings you back to a bigger state of wholeness through your own experience of growth. But yeah, as I said, there is no diminishing any of the pain or the lessons or the growth that you experience in either. They're both very key to get you to where you are. And it's accepting where you are right now. And I think that's a really huge thing that we need to touch on. It's really accepting where you are now and not trying to project yourself into what you think you need. It's really understanding the lessons that you're going through and what your twin flame or your soulmate is showing you in order to bring you back to an area of wholeness, because every experience does that. It brings you to a place of wholeness and completion within you. And it's really, really important to remember that and to not try and wish away something that you need to work on, or you need to focus on, or you need to heal from at this point. Or you try and project yourself into what you feel is your ideal, that this is the perfect, this is the perfect match of what you need and what you want right now. Because what you need and what right now is right here with you right now. So it's really important to, I would say, recognize every individual lesson, and just accept it and be open to it, and be open to that awareness and to the growth that you're experiencing. That's what I'd
Totally. That's a great way to put that. Okay, so Heidi, hello, Heidi. Think so. That makes so much sense, bringing out the best in each other, and that's what the truest of the true twin flame. Now, that's not to say they're not going to bring out your shadows, like we're talking about, but they're going to equally bring out the greatness within yourself and help you become your best self. And in addition to that, they're going to help you see the greatness in yourself through their own reflection and through their own ability to see. And something else I want to say, like in the conversation that my family and I had, last night and today with him being back and revisiting like all these things that we're talking about, that we went through talking about all these different things. Like one of the things he had said to me was that, thank you for being able to be so vocal with me, to share your needs with me, to express what you need in me. And, him wanting to step up to fill that role for me within his own abilities. And so the thing is, one of the things I said is, well, it like what I had to go through to be able to stand up, show up and speak up for what I need is a lot. To be able to stand up and say, no, I need this, and this is a soul need, and it's a need that my soul needs for my continued growth and elevation. And on the flip side of that, what you said, Reis, that makes so much sense. For me to stand up, show up, and speak up, he offers a very safe vessel that allows me to go to the depths of myself, to express myself to that level, and then him being willing to hear and listen to me, and then not only hear and listen to me, but have a desire to want to better himself to become that version of what I need for us to then realign at the higher level, like you're talking about.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. It is very emotional and truly
very emotional.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We have Crazy Lion. Welcome back. All right. So this feels like an especially powerful live stream. Really liking this topic, as I often wondered, what is the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame? Great psychic exchange, by the way. Thank you so much for your loyalty, showing up, your participation, your feedback, Crazy Lion, and you too, Heidi, and all of you that show up and share with us and show up and follow us through this journey. Let's see. I'll let you take this.
Liking that I don't know what that word is. Yes, I am. I struggle with dyslexia. So, Dr. Harmony, Divine Design. Yes, great name and great observation. Yeah, I loved how you put that in a package and how you expanded on that as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is a
Absolutely.
divine design. It really is,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
good or
Yeah.
bad, is divinely designed.
Yeah.
Um, Reis,
Also,
okay.
sorry this is off topic, but Reis, I love the video you posted featuring Alison. Her story is amazing. I found the video really inspirational, helpful, great work. Yeah, beautiful. So if you haven't already checked out the interviews and some of the other content on the channel, get all over it, because I know it's slightly off topic, but recently did an interview with an amazing, incredible, inspirational advocate for trauma, for people that have gone through near-death experiences, and domestic violence. And she's got an incredible story. So I suggest you tap into that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much, True Crazy Lion. Off topic. This is a
Oh,
rambling list. I feel we bring it back to a whole every time.
yeah. Total divine orchestration, including my own resistance. Yeah, because I was having my own resistance of letting the money flow through me to even pay for bowls or to do like whatever. So it showed me my own resistance to the flow of resources. You know, it really did. So, yes. Oh yeah, thank you, Heidi. It was very inspiring. I mean, I was crying most all day yesterday, and I do want to say something else about that, really quick. When we're talking about soulmates and twin flames, those of you that have followed me with my journey with Champ, which is down here, by the way. So I've had a great day, did all these things, but lots going on, and then get home from what I went to the lunch today with the friend that I was talking about, and everything that was yesterday. And I go to put this piece I bought out on the deck, and all of a sudden I hear all this yelping, crying, whining, pain. And I thought at first that Jeremiah was, I thought at first he was mocking Champ, because they do that sometimes, to discover he was not. And we're both right there, but separate, and couldn't see him. And Champ his back had went out. He went to the ground, and it was like he was paralyzed, and he was howling, yelping, and looked like he was having a seizure. And like the whole thing just shattered me. And I'm on the ground, and like, hugging him, holding him, healing him. And then, Jeremiah's like all over me. And like we did this whole thing for a while. And so I've been like, that just ripped me apart.
Mm,
And like, so I spent the afternoon crying and going through all that, because once it hit me, that opened up a whole portal that I don't even know where it all came from, but like I just dumped it all out. So,
wow.
him being a soulmate like that too, and a teacher for me, Champ, taught me so many things, and so deep and so connected, and feel his pain, and we feel each other. Like it just ripped me apart today to see him in pain
Mm,
and to see him go through that. And he's going to be 14 in January, and he's been great and fine except for that. So point being is, I just wanted to share that because I wanted to ask for prayers and energy for
mm,
him, because he is down on his back, even though he's doing better. And I was talking to Jeremiah after that, and I said, I can feel these ripples of energy and this trauma going through his body. And I can tell that his own body has been like mine, is traumatized. He's went through all this emotional clearing, all this shadow work, even for the collective. He's had his own set of healing things to go through, and his own set of fears I've watched him go through. And now he is like I was, hypersensitive to
mm,
all of these things. And so his little body has just been rippling with all this energy coming through it. And so I was working on clearing some of this for him too. And I know now I'm going to put him through some like PTSD stuff to help him release the stuff out of his body that he's holding on to. So another sidetrack, but I wanted to share that just because I would really
yeah,
appreciate some prayers and energy for
absolutely.
him.
Prayers for him.
Okay, let's see. That's amazing. Thank you, Layla. I think you're talking about what my yesterday. If you guys are just joining and you haven't listened to my story I talked about yesterday, be sure to watch some of this on the replay and go back to the story I shared with my story of yesterday on 11/11 and how that links to our topic today. It is amazing. I mean, I kind of took my time going through it, muddling through it, but it is a powerful story. So thank you so much for recognizing that. Oh yeah. Is it ethical to say that I want to be your beneficiary? I never actually said I wanted to be. I said that if you need somebody to be that person for you, then yes. And that could be part of a soul contract, like we're talking about with a soul. Like when Reis asked me, "Am I your soulmate?" Well, on some level, this was pre-planned. And from
Mm.
my standpoint, I'm honored that she would even ask me. The thing of it is, she has no one. So from an ethical standpoint, she has no one to give anything to. And so I showed up as not only her angel of what happened yesterday, but I showed up in her life to offer her a hope and also to give her like a connection through our interaction that she now realizes she no longer has to be alone. And I can tell you from my own experience of what I went through with what I went through with my own PTSD and my own stuff I went through from healing from when I had my all my trauma that happened through my COVID experience. I never knew what it was like to be alone until I did that. And I knew after I went through that alone that if there's anybody that I cross their path and they feel like they're alone, they're not going to feel like they're alone anymore, because that I won't allow that to happen as long as somebody's in my presence, and I will show up for people like that for whatever they need when they need it. So I don't know how that links to ethics, but from my standpoint, it's soul to soul, and ethics aren't even a part of it. So just to answer your question. So, hey, Barton, how are you? I'll let you take the strays.
If the twin flame that is resisting doesn't acknowledge the connection, it's still possible for the other to find that personal growth through the triggers, right? Absolutely. But this is going back to that mirror reflection of recognizing actually what is in you that needs to grow in order to align your twin flame. So a big part of my journey with my twin flame is that I always felt that there was a part of him that was asleep. There was a part of him that was still unconscious, that wasn't awakening to having that awareness, to having that perception, to aligning, when actually, when I turned it back to me, it was recognizing that this needed to grow within me. And that was an area of me that was unconscious, that was me that was asleep, that needed to awaken
And
within
also
me.
you that would be resistant, because if you see
Absolutely.
resistance in the connection, you have it in yourself, which is what I was even
Exactly.
telling you yesterday. My own resistance came up through the interaction with the lady. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So basically so it's recognizing that you're using that mirror in order to recognize what needs to grow within you. So yeah, exactly what Dr. Harmony said. So it's an aspect, I would say, Gabriella, really have a look at what you're resisting, having a look at what is showing you within your twin flame, what's mirroring an aspect of you. Because when we flip it around and we stop projecting externally and we start actually looking what it's showing us internally, we can really then use that as a springboard and a platform in order to grow. And when we can get that perception and connection, the growth is pretty quick. It's pretty dynamic. It's pretty quick, because we can stay in that place for quite a while as long as we're focusing on the external places that need to be fixed in order for us to come into that alignment, which is actually about our own personal and individual growth. That's what I would say.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's see. We have Crazy Lion again. Okay, no, we actually already did that. Oh, sorry for the wording. Yes, we were
Thank you.
the nomenclature. Yeah, we figured it out on the way though. Thank you, Crazy Lion. Hey, Gina, welcome. Thank you so much for the prayers for Champ. I really, really appreciate that. And Gina, I hope you're doing well. And I know you love Sedona, so I'm sure you're going to be coming here at some point soon. And look forward to seeing you when you do. Thank you, Heidi. So you're also praying for Champ. You've been going through a few things with trauma and activations and seizures. Okay, interesting, but different for Champ and each of us. Yeah. I'm telling you, like, I don't even know, like I even knew he was about to get sick from like the whole process. And it wasn't right then, but he did, vomit just a little bit after the whole experience. So I don't even 100% know what happened. I just know he has a bad back, and from that, something really big happened, and like I'm really monitoring right now. And at first, thought I'm not even sure I was going to make it to the show tonight, but okay, I'm here. Okay. Well, I think that's the inked. I will just say to you that what we do is free will. So that might be what you might say no, but for my soul, it didn't feel right to say no. And that's the free will of why it's an individual journey. And we each have our own decision making of how we navigate our journey. So, what I would say to you, if that triggers you that I didn't say no, then like with the conversation we're having, you should look really deep within yourself as to, well, why wouldn't I say yes? You know? And obviously there's something within that if it's triggering you. So, okay. So Gina, yeah, go back to the story, Gina, for sure. You're reuniting with someone new now. Cool. Not attaching to the labels, but lots of triggers and healing and chemistry and spiritual connection this time. That's good because that's, Gina, I know your story and all of that. So I'd say that was the piece you were missing last time. And to have that spiritual connection this time, I think brings more wholeness to the experience. But that means you had to have the last experience for you to also be ready for this one, you know? Okay, so you're welcome, Gabriella. Definitely, it is always about working on ourselves since the only thing we can change and correct. So, yeah. So like I said, you know, that is just a personal decision. So I know I'm dealing with a vulnerable person and didn't come from it from being vulnerable. I don't have any desire for her stuff. It's not even about her stuff. And I even told her that this isn't about your stuff. This is about showing up for you and what you need right now. And that's showing up for a person, not the stuff. So I guess it all depends on your intention of what's behind that. So all right. So everyone, welcome to the Rise with Reis, and make sure to connect with us back again next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we will see you then. Okay. Loads of love, everyone. Let's see. We got one more thing. Thanking us for tuning in. Okay. Yeah. Got it. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.